Okay, thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. We had lots of questions coming in with external evaluation cohort 26 process, and so I figured it might be a good idea to ask questions as needed. Please excuse my house is a wreck right now. We're decorating for Christmas and all of that, so please excuse anything that's going on in the background. But I don't really have anything specific to talk about. My computer's doing crazy things. Hold on a second. I'm trying to open in the middle of the screen.
Carla, while Ms. Violet's getting back on board, I just wanted to say that I have already gone through, I think, two new 26s with all of the new forms and working through them. I haven't seen anything in yet because we're still processing it, but I do want to say that I really have enjoyed the new forms, and I really haven't found anything that's been too hard. So thank you all for all of your due diligence in setting that up. I think it's going to be great. So far, I've had a good experience with it.
Can you hear me now? Okay, that's good to hear because we had some people who were still getting the hang of the new evaluability plan for cohort 26. So hopefully everyone will get in and get it started and have good results like you've had.
Can you, hey Carla,
I,
while we're
I can,
waiting, let me start my video. Okay, I think I'm going. Do you guys want me to go through a couple things on the new website just to show you where some things are located?
I think that'd be a good idea. I had it pull it up on my end so we could share the screen. So Kelly, since you are our webmaster, you can kind of navigate and walk everyone through it.
You just never know when you're going to become something. I do love doing it, but okay, yes. Let me go ahead and do that. It says the meeting is locked. Does that matter?
I don't know. Can you share your
Um,
screen?
yes, that's what I am gonna go ahead and get it pulled up. Okay, everybody can see. Can everybody
Yes.
see? Okay, so this is the new website. If you've not already gotten on there and looked at everything, here's the information for 27 email list. Here's our contact information. I've made a new page for cohort 27, and we've got, this is just basically the calendar of the things that we're doing. Here's the WebEx from the day before, a couple of days before when we went and did our first office hours. And here is the PowerPoint from the other day. So this can go through anything that Amanda walked through the other day. This is our calendar. I try to put all of the dates on this calendar, so you can also click on the calendar and it'll give you a link to the WebEx Meet, that the site that we go to meet. Over here on resources, here's grant guidance, which is just our 1726 RFA. The new one will hopefully be out there. Here's the non-regulatory guidance from the feds. And here is subgrantee information. We've got RFA forms. This is for the subgrantees. Anything you can see that they might have questions about. Here's the pre-screened external organization list. We have added the information down at the bottom so you can scroll through that. Here is field trip information, guidelines. There's a form for them to put everything in if they need or want to request a specific trip. Easy reports, YouTube link down at the bottom. And then for you guys, this is where you really want to see. I have got, oh, hold on. Give me 2 seconds because I redid this yesterday. Make sure you see what I see. I'll have to go back and check. But this is where you will have underneath external evaluator, you will see, here's the contact list information. And then here are the forms, the current forms that that Carla was talking about a few minutes ago. And then underneath here is the place where you will actually submit. So let me look at it in a different view for some reason. So you click on submission forms and here's the evaluation plan. And it takes you to this, and then you can upload your plan and it'll go directly to us. The final reports, same situation. Here's a final report template. And this other form that needs to be submitted.
And we add the observation links too, so they can upload the cohort 17 observations in there. But we do have that in that PowerPoint from the previous PowerPoint that we did with the external evaluators.
Yes, I'll get that uploaded. Carla, remind me of what needs to be done.
Okay. All right.
Anything else? All right, I'm going to stop sharing, I believe. Go back to y'all.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I had to completely go back out, close everything on my computer, and come back in. I'm so glad it didn't stop the whole meeting. Thank you, Kelly, for filling that time. I don't know what
you're
you did,
welcome.
but I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sarah, Sarah gave us a good compliment, Amanda, while you were gone. She said that everything that we've done so far, I don't know, Sarah, if you want to say it again, just so Amanda can hear, but that'd be great.
I just want, I went through, I think, 2 different clients, but 3 different processes already with 26. And the very first part, it is a little lengthy to get through everything because everybody's kind of learning new. So it took longer than what I thought. So I'm going to have to go back and do observations at a later time. But I think everything went really well. And just talking through the objectives and making sure that they could be evaluated and they were good and solid. And some we made some corrections on. So my process was going to be to turn that in to the TA when I send it to them for you all to check it. Is that what you all want us to do before we submit it to the state, is to make sure someone kind of looks at any changes we made on some of those objectives to make sure they could be evaluated? I didn't want to turn it in before, I was going to send it to the TA first, make sure, and then submit it. Or do y'all want to just put it straight to the state?
So I hadn't really thought about that. I'm fine with it going to the TA if they feel comfortable with that. But I will say one thing, if anything major has been changed, like we definitely want to see that. Like if they had something just totally off the wall that just if you
Well,
weren't able,
the main thing was like objectives that
yeah,
just weren't clear. Like I knew that I thought, well, when Miss Rylant sees this, she's going to say, no, because I listened to your training and I said, now, if
right,
you all don't believe me, go listen to the training.
right,
I kept pointing them back to the training. So, objectives like all students will participate in a service learning project. I told them
yeah,
we've got to work on that. That's not going to work. So those are the
absolutely,
kinds of things that we worked on, and everybody was very like they were like, "Oh, thank you so much." What do we need to do to be better? So far, everyone that I've met with that's new, they've all been very open to that.
good.
But we've just been trying to make sure that what we wrote could be measured.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I don't mind you sending it to the TA or one of us. Of course, we got a lot on our plate already, and so it might be hard for us to look at every single one of them. But I guess, if you guys don't feel if you just would feel more comfortable if somebody looked it over and made sure it was a measurable objective, then we're fine doing that. And then, if it gets to be too much, then we'll come up with a different plan. But yeah, but I definitely do want to see it though, for sure. If an objective like completely changed, but if it was just tweaking it to make it more measurable, then that should be fine. You guys may even be, better at that than we are. Sometimes I struggle with objectives sometimes in trying to, you know, trying to create one, and thinking about the measures and things like that. So, but we're happy, as we have time to try to look those over and and give any feedback that we can on those. So that would be fine. Um
Well, I
yeah,
love the forms. Y'all are doing a great job on that. Everything looks really good. It's very
good.
clear. And so far I've done 3. So far we're doing real well with them.
Awesome. Thank you. It's good to hear because whenever you try something new, it's a little nerve, wracking that you're about to screw everything up. So, but hopefully it'll go well. I know it's a new process for everybody, and so, and I know I've had several people ask about that first site visit form, which is really not. It's less of an observation form, more. It's more like what we typically would have the TAs go in and do. But we felt like, or I felt like it would be something that you guys could help with, and actually probably spend a little bit more time with them on, and making sure that they had all their processes and everything in order and are doing everything correctly. Um, and kind of take a little bit of weight off of some of our TAs, especially right now when we don't have but 3, and they're scrambling trying to get all their visits done, and they're not going to be able to get them all done. And so that's very helpful. And we'll just, as I told someone, we're just going to see how this first year goes, and if everybody, gets some feedback from everyone, and if it works out well, then we'll continue it, and if not, then we may have to tweak it, for next year. But really, this is well, I guess we will have next year because we'll have cohort 27 will be in their first year. But really, this process with the evaluability process will really mainly just be done in the first year of the grant, hopefully. And then if a lot of time is focused on getting everything working the right way and making sure we have really good objectives in place and they are measurable, and we can look to see if the activities the sites are doing are actually making a positive effect on the student achievement, then that's where we need to be. And then from this point forward, we can just go forward with like tweaking our objectives or tweaking our activities to try to make sure that our objectives are being met. And I just realized that when I came, I don't know if this is recording or not. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. Wasn't sure if it died when I logged out or not. People need to be let in. All right. Does anybody have any questions or anything? specifically? Okay, now I am in twice. Yes.
I do want to say with the new folks, I have noticed that they seem to be unaware that STEM was no longer a major goal. And so that came as a bit of a shock factor to them when we were going through their goals. And it's almost like, I mean, I guess someone there wrote the RFA. So is that going to be also taken out of 27 too? Is it still going to be the health and wellness? Because I feel like they need a little guidance, because they were kind of like, well, what are we supposed to do? So I was trying to guide them through health and wellness and how that was different than STEM, because it seems like STEM is no longer a major part.
Well, it's not that it's not a major part. It's just to me, STEM would tie into those academic goals that are at the beginning. STEM was one of our priorities in the RFA, and so it's just it's not that it's not a goal. It's just not something that we required of everyone. Now, in the new RFA that's coming up, it is a requirement for. Well, let me think about that. Everybody is expected to do. Everybody's really expected to do math and literature activities or English language arts activities, but the science and the rest is not necessarily a requirement, but it is, of course, we would love people to incorporate that. And again, it's not that it's not something that we want them to do. We absolutely want them to do STEM, but the goal, but the STEM would fall under the academic achievement goals. And the main thing, and the reason why we made the main focus on math and literacy is just because that's what the feds want. That's what they're looking at as far as our performance results with the 21 APR that has to be submitted each year. And so that definitely needs to be the main focus, but they can absolutely, especially if they got those priority points in their RFA for including STEM activities, then they absolutely could have additional objectives under that first program goal, to they could add an additional goal, but they could definitely add some objectives about, incorporating STEM as well into their like literacy and math activities and things like that. So they can absolutely have that as a goal for their program. It just wasn't a required goal, I guess is the best way to put it. So all right.
Well, that's actually what I did tell them, just to
Okay,
make
good.
it keep STEM under the academic goal. It would fall there. But so there's what the new health goal really looks like and how to handle that.
Okay, so yeah, let me talk about that. So the holistic health and wellness is just kind of a term that I've seen other states use like across the country as being a focus, and really it depends on the site as to what that means. And so you've got those different pillars for holistic health and wellness, and they're explained, I believe, in the RFA itself, like the one that we put out. I know it's in the new one. It's expanded on in there, but basically, holistic health and wellness can be any kind of. It could be physical activity. It could be nutritional activities. It could be mental health or social emotional learning. Really anything that benefits the physical or mental wellness of the child, making them a more well-rounded child. And so it's going to look different from site to site based on what their needs were.
Hey, Amanda. Dr. Anderson here. Quick question for you. Can you hear me okay? You can? Okay. I see head nods. Okay. Quick question for you. I want to make sure that I have, because every time I read, I see something different in what to do when. So I want to make sure, based on my little notes that I've written, that I have the timeline of what to do at what time. So initially for March, um, the logic model or evaluation plan, the readiness OST, um, the written report from the site visit, and the actual evaluability checklist are what's due for the March 15th submission. The second visit and the written report, where we use the second OST, that's what's due in May. And then when we do summer visits, if there are summer observations, and the actual final report with all of the information is what's due for the annual report in August, by August 31st. Is that right in the grouping of what to do for those 3 submissions?
I'm not sure where Amanda is, but when I'm going to drop in the chat that timeline that you were speaking about. But those, what as you were talking, I was looking through the timeline to see exactly those dates, and those are the dates that are listed there. And she did change the timeline to meet this guidelines that she had from our last external evaluator training. So that is in that timeline, and I'm going to drop it in the chat. Not real sure. She probably has to go back out and come back in again.
I think I'm back. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not turning my camera on because my computer is already going crazy, and so I'm worried that that's part of it. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry, guys. I can't remember what I was even talking about. Holistic health and wellness, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So just basically they can make that goal whatever it needs to be based on the needs of their students. And so if the need is more physical activities, then you could base your objectives on the physical activities they chose to do, or not necessarily, well, it really shouldn't be that way. The physical activities that they need in that area, and then, you base your activities on those objectives. If they felt like the students needed nutritional activities, or they're doing a cooking class or something like that, then they can base their objectives off of that. How is that, what are those activities going to do? And it really, I'm kind of saying it backwards, because really it should be they develop their objectives based on their needs assessment, and then they develop what their activities are going to be based on those objectives. But I understand that some of them may have been a little bit confused about that. So we'll make sure that we go into that more in the office hours for this new RFA. And maybe I need to do an office hour or invite program directors to the next office hours for you guys. I don't know if it's too late. I know it was kind of late already, last minute. I just knew that a lot of you were doing your first visits right now, and so I wanted to get it done as quickly as possible. So, but they're always welcome to ask questions about that. If they're questioning you and they need clarification, then just let us know.
And Dr. Jackson, I think it was, had some questions about the timeline. And I was going
Okay.
to drop it into the Anderson. I'm sorry, Dr. Anderson. And I was going to drop it into the chat. I have it in the content part, but I can't. I don't know if everyone can see that, but so I got to get the link for everyone
Okay.
of the actual timeline. So, Dr. Anderson, if you'll ask your question again.
Okay. What I was asking was, I've written my little notes, and as far as the submission areas for the March 15th submission, what I have written down is that the 4 things that need to be submitted are the logic model or the evaluation plan, whichever we do, the
Yep.
readiness OST, the
Right.
written report from the site visit, and then the actual evaluability checklist.
That's
And
correct.
then the second submission that's due May 31st will include the second visit and the second OST, not the readiness, but the second OST, and then the written report. And then the last submission would be any summer observation, and then all of the information from the first two visits, and then I guess any summer information, and then the actual final report. So those would be the
Right.
three things. But that first
Right.
submission in March has the four pieces of information: the logic model or the evaluation plan, the readiness OST, the written report from the site visit, and then the actual evaluability checklist.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. You got it.
Amanda, there's a question in the chat as well.
Okay, thank you. Before I get to that question, just keep in mind, we are going to work on a template for that final report, but it's just, we were trying to get, our new partners in place, and I don't know, the MOU for some reason is being held up, and so that has not happened yet, but we were trying to get them in place, and then also, we've got to get Troy back in place. Well, they're in place, but we've got to get their MOU completed as well. And then once that happens, we're going to start working on a state evaluation plan and a comprehensive state evaluation plan and start building that. And I was hoping that that could be a piece of that, but we may have to go ahead and do it ahead of time. I kind of have a rough draft of what I'm thinking it's going to look like, but I didn't want to be the only person contributing to it because, that just going to lead to issues and problems. I want multiple people to be looking at it and looking for potential issues or things that I'm accidentally leaving out and things like that. And so, we may even ask some of you to come and help us with that and working on that template, but we will try to get it built as soon as we can so that you guys will have it and know what we're going to be asking for. And if worst case scenario, we'll just use what we use for cohort 17. Because it is a good general template that goes through the year. I just wanted to kind of create maybe a new one that aligned a little bit better with this whole evaluability and aspect of what we're doing for the first year. So we are going to work on that. Okay. Local program evaluation framework and timeline. Okay, let me go look at that really quick and see. Okay, so the question says on the local program evaluation framework and timeline list, second page, there's an interim evaluation report listed as required. Is that a requirement for program leaders to receive evaluation findings? So let me look at that really quick. I've got to remind myself.
And for those of you who need the timeline, again, it was sent in the email, but if you would click on the three dots at the bottom right of the WebEx, you can click on content and it'll show the file that was uploaded. And you can click there, click on it. I couldn't figure out how to add it to the chat, so I found a place to put it.
Trying to find that. Nancy, where you said it's on page 2? Sorry, I've been using the timeline instead of this other form more recently.
Is it something that's on the website that I can pull up, Amanda?
No, I've got it right here in front of me. I'm just trying to
Okay.
find where it talks about the interim report. Now I'm worried that I've sent out the wrong thing because I'm not seeing it on my version. It's a form that's dated October 25 at the top. Yeah, that's the right form. I'm sorry, I'm trying to local program evaluation framework. Okay, I'm looking at that. State development requirements for local October 2025. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm just trying to find where it refers, where in the, what stage does it say that that's under, if you don't mind? So I'm looking at that form, but I'm just not seeing where it talks about an interim evaluation report. Do you, and it's got evaluability year 1, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. What stage is that listed under?
Amanda, I'm gonna share my
Yeah.
screen and I'll show you what
Okay.
I have.
Thank you, because I'm just missing it. I don't know if my eyes aren't working right or what. Okay, here we go.
So is this where it says interim evaluation report? I found this in an email. But it says the local evaluation framework and timeline. So that was on page, well, it's page 3 here, but it does say interim evaluation report. Is that right,
Well,
Dr.
that,
Horton?
oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So that's years 2 through 5. So if you guys will go, if you're looking at that form, if you'll scroll up, Carla, to the page before, see where it says program review planning at the bottom right there on the left, years 2 through 5 in development. That's going to be, so the interim evaluation report is something we might do next year, but that's still in development. So so you don't have to worry about that right now. I was just trying to make, I thought I had taken that out, but I was trying to make sure that I was right. That's why I was looking for it. So yeah, the interim evaluation report is not something you'll have to do in year 1. It's something that we potentially will do next year. So it's going to be, that's going to be something, if we continue in that thought process, it would take the place of that evaluability checklist. You won't do the evaluability checklist next year. You'll just, well, you will for the new cohort if you guys are working with them, but you won't do it with year 2 of the cohort 26 grant. Is there, are y'all, am I explaining that okay? Okay, I can see the document, Carla.
Let me stop sharing over here and maybe I can kind of show everybody on this side. So I'll share where I was talking about. So if you all, maybe it's, I don't know if you're just having trouble seeing it or what, but let me do it this way. What I was showing is there are 3 dots at the bottom right here, and then if I click on it, it shows content, and then I have it here. So if you're having trouble seeing it that way, I don't know, like maybe download it and see if it'll open that way for you. But this is the timeline that has, am I even sharing the right screen?
Right now I'm seeing
But
you, or I'm seeing
okay.
I'm seeing the WebEx.
You're sharing it correctly, and I can click the 3 dots and I can click content, but nothing else pops up from there.
So when you click here on the 3 dots, so nothing shows up at all on your content. So you don't see the
Right.
document at all. Okay.
Right. I can click the 3 dots, I can click content, but then there's not another window that pops up to actually see the document.
Let me see if I can try to add it again. Okay. See if do you see it now? Like if you refresh or anything? And that was in the email she sent yesterday.
Yeah, it was an attachment to yesterday's email. That might be easier.
If it was in the email, I'll just get it from the email.
Okay.
Yeah, it was sent in the email yesterday, but I thought it was able to be seen, but I'm sorry. Tried.
It's okay. So basically, if you're looking at that local program evaluation framework and timeline that we're talking about, you're really only right now going to be concentrating on the first page and halfway through the second page. And then when it gets to program review and planning years 2 through 5 in development, you don't have to worry about that yet. That I probably should have left it off because we weren't certain, but I kind of wanted you to see guys to kind of see a full picture of where we were going. And again, that interim evaluation report, that will not be this year. That will be for next year if we continue down the same path that we're currently going. And it would take the place of that evaluability checklist. So it's more kind of like a mid-year report, but it's something that you guys will do instead of the program directors. That was some of the feedback that we've gotten since we kind of started working with 21st Century, is that mid-year report was a lot of it was a lot of work, and it really was, in my opinion, I may be wrong, but I feel like it really wasn't being done at the right time of the year. I feel like that something like what we were doing for the mid-year report was really something that should be done kind of at the beginning of the next year, so that you're looking at your progress from the previous year, you're looking at your data and results from the previous year, and you're actually kind of going to plan your next year using that information and doing it. I didn't really understand why it would need to be done in January. So we just took that off. We may add something back in that's similar, but if we do, it might be something that you guys do or focus on more than the program directors, just because they, already have, trying to take some of the burden off of them and make take some of, just take some burden off of them, basically trying to cut back wherever we can and make their jobs a little bit easier. So, but we're that part's still in development. So right now, basically the things that you guys need to be worrying about right now. First thing is ask them. I know some of you have reached out about not being able to see the EGAP, seeing your site's EGAP applications. Well, that's because several of them don't have a finalized application yet, a final approved application. We've been trying to get them. So just to give you a little background information, when they do their grant, when they get the grant, they still have to go through the process of us going, even though they got the grant, they were awarded the grant, peer reviewers said their application was great, whatever, they scored high and got the grant. We still have to go in after that and check to make sure that they've budgeted items that are allowable, that they've used proper budget codes that they're supposed to use, because they may have written a really fantastic grant, but they may have things in there that are not allowable and they didn't realize were not allowable, and the peer reviewers may not have realized were not allowable, because a lot of times our peer reviewers are from other states. So they may do that. They may do things in their state that we don't do here, just things like that. And so we've been trying to work with them to get all of those edited and, fixed so that we can give them final approval on their application. And some of them have just not been very quick in getting it done. And so we're really pushing for it to get done now so that you guys can see it. But once they have final approval, you should be able to go into EGAP and see their application. Anybody can see anyone's application because it's public knowledge that, it's public domain once they have an approved application. But and I already sent this in an email, so I'm really kind of being repetitive, but you should be able to have them pull that Form 9 and I would work on that first. That the Form 9, it's multi something. I need to come up with a better name for it, because every time I try to think of what the name of it is, I can't remember. But work on that with them and make sure, because really the way it should look, and I tried to explain this in office hours after office hours after office hours with them and in all the trainings, it's really it's the Form 9 is supposed to show that they've got program goals, they've developed objectives based off of those goals, then they developed activities based off of, and well, their program goals were based off of their needs, the needs of their students, what they said they needed in their needs assessment when they did their RFA needs assessment. Then they, I'm getting bounced back. I'm gonna mute everyone real quick because I can't. I'm already having a hard enough time concentrating with my ADHD going crazy this morning. Anyway, so you've got your program, you've got your needs assessment. We gave them pretty much the program goals we wanted them to use. They can add additional program goals if they want to. Then they need to create their objectives. Then their activities really should have been based off of, okay, what activities do we need to offer to make sure that these objectives are being met, that we are going to actually see student improvement? What do we need to do? And then the next column is, okay, what data are we going to collect to make sure that the activities we chose are actually working, are actually contributing to student academic achievement and all these other, other goals that we've set forth. And then the last part was the budget. What are we going to buy? What expenses do we need to make sure those activities are implemented properly in the right way? And so I would work on making sure that document looks good, and then use that document to either make the logic model or the other one, your evaluation plan. Which is, the evaluation plan document looks very similar to the Form 9. Really, it just doesn't, I don't think it has that budget aspect in it, and I think it goes into a little bit more details about the evaluation process and who's responsible for what and that sort of thing. So that's really kind of what I would focus on right now. And then once you've done that, the next step, once you've got their Form 9 looking good, you've got that evaluation plan or logic model in place, then you're going to do that OST site readiness visit. And that's really asking you to go in and talk to them about their programming in general. There's a lot of detailed questions in there, just to make sure they've got their program up and running properly. And so that's really the main focus. And then that evaluability checklist, going through that with them and making sure that the program is evaluatable. I hate that word. I can't really say it. But just making sure that they've got a well planned out program that now really can truly be evaluated, so that at the end of this year, or at the end, if when we look at data at the end of the year and going into next year, we can say, okay, what we're doing is actually helping, is actually working. We are actually making an effect on student achievement. Or we can say, we need to do something different. We need to add something. We need to take something away. We need to replace some activities. And so that's really kind of the goal in this. And I know in the past I've heard you guys talk about, well, or I've seen it actually also in reading your reports, is that it just seemed like it was really hard for you to do your jobs because their objectives and goals were not necessarily measurable. And so how, and you were having to work around that. You were having to try to kind of figure out a way to make your reports work when they didn't really have good goals and objectives in place, and you thought you had to stick with that because that was what was written into the RFA. And, I may get my hand slapped later from it by the feds, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be fine for you to make adjustments to those, to get them where there are actual measurable goals, so that we can actually see what's working. I thought about sending you guys a copy of the Form 9 yesterday. I can do that. I can send it to you in an email. It should be in the RFA as an attachment. It should be under related documents. I'm assuming you guys can see their related documents if you're not logged in. Are you able, do y'all know if you can do that? Was anybody able to pull a Form 9 from someone's application that's already been approved? Okay, well, we'll check on that and make sure that's something that you guys can pull. If not, it may be something you have to get a copy of from, you only use the RFA itself? Okay, yeah. Okay. So they're saying they had to ask for the Form 9. So yeah, we'll check on that. I assumed that you guys would be able to pull that, but when we go into EGAP, we can see everything. But I can try to log in as just kind of a guest and go and look and see if that's something that you guys can pull.
Amanda, I went
Yes.
in yesterday and I couldn't find it for my site.
Okay. So could you find your site at all, or could you not find the Form 9?
I could find my site, but the application isn't there, so I guess it hasn't been approved. But she's given me a hard copy of the
Okay. Yeah.
application.
Yeah, they can do that. So they should be able to, if they don't have an approved application yet, then they should be able to give you a copy of it. It's not very difficult to print it out from EGAP.
But in looking at what she gave me,
Uh-huh.
and I think she just the information looks like Form 9 information, but it's
Yep.
coming in right after the parent and family engagement,
Okay.
and there's no heading on it, but then it jumps right into what looks like the Form 9 information.
Huh. Okay. So I don't know. I think Carla may have put this on her screen. Carla, can you zoom in just a little bit? Make it a little bit bigger so they can see the headings. Okay, that's good. All right, so this is Form 9. Again, it was an attachment. It's something that they had to upload into their sites related documents, and so they should just be able to give you a copy of it. We can get you a copy of it if we have to. If they aren't able to do that for some reason, just reach out and let us know. We can print it out for you and get it to you. But please try to go through them first before coming to us, because we've already got so much going on right now. But we want you to have this. I tried to push for this document to be heavily relied on when they were writing their RFA, because it was really supposed to be what's written in the RFA is also reflected in this Form 9. But this tool was supposed to be used for them to make sure that everything flowed. So if you look at it, you see that you've got the performance goal. That's like the darker gray bar that's going across the middle of the page there. And so that was the performance goal. We gave them last year performance goals 1, 2, and 3, and they were based off of the GEPRA data that they have to collect. And so we made those mandatory, but then we told them they could write their own program goals for holistic health and wellness, parent and family engagement, and what was the other one? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Holistic health and wellness, service learning. But I'll send you guys the new one for the new RFA, because I just went ahead and put the program goals in there for them for the new one, so they could see that. Okay, they were also given these objectives for the first 3 program goals, but they were told they could add additional objectives to that. And let me see if this is the newest one. Okay, so I will say this. If you look under objective 1B, no, actually, I take that back. It was 1A and 1C. We did change those. So this is the new one, I believe. Yes. Okay. So originally, just letting you know, just give you guys some background information. Originally, we were originally they were told to look at student progress on their report card grades from the previous year to the new year. No, I'm sorry, from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year. And that was the objective. But we got a lot of feedback from the sub-grantees saying, well, we don't do report card grades. We do, a lot of the elementary schools do more like, I guess, performance standards instead of grades. So that was an issue. And then several of them were very upset because they said, well, at the beginning of the year, our students usually make an A, their first report card, because all we do the first 9 weeks of school is go over things from last year, things that they learned last year. It's just an overview of, a catch up of what they did the previous year. And so they tend to do really well in the first 9 weeks, but then in the last 9 weeks, they may not do so well because it's new information. And so comparing first 9 weeks to the last 9 weeks report card grade was not an accurate reflection of whether the student achievement is what they were saying. And so we changed it to be based off of their their benchmarks assessments that they all give in their district. So that's one thing that you might see that needs to be changed in their Form 9 is that those have been updated. But I'll get those sent to you. I'm going to have to head out in just a minute to go to my dentist appointment, but I am going into the office after that's over, unless they do something really painful to me to fix this tooth. I plan and fully intend to go into the office, and I'll get that sent to you guys. Get you a copy of the new one that has the new objectives in there.
And I added that Form 9. I only have one hand, so the typing for it has multi-years, like uppercase, lowercase. But I added that into the content for those of you who needed to see that multi-year plan. I was able to view, and I can show you all this part. Hold on, sorry. Again, I got just one hand. But I was able to not log into my eGap and see, for instance, this particular LEA, their application has been approved, and I was able to see that information if you search for it. But again, that may be because I am a state employee, but I am not logged into my eGap using my eGap credentials. So you all may be able to just search for it in eGap if it's approved. Like Amanda said, it has to be approved in order for you to see it, but you can just search for the organization by putting the name of the organization. Some of the CBOs, it's harder to find them because of how the names are listed, but for the most part, they can, you can put their name in and just try to search for it that way. But again, it has to be approved in order for you to be able to see it.
So I tell you what, well, I don't know. Hold on. My computer's acting so crazy. I'm kind of scared to do it. But I was about to say, let me show you really quick to do it. Just 1 second. And then I'm going to have to run. Okay, give me just 1 second. No, my computer's acting, it's not letting me get to it. I'm sorry, guys. But I should be in the office on Monday for our other office hour meeting, and so we can walk through how to get to it. Oh, well, now it's doing it. Now it's popping up.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
I guess again.
1 second. I'm going to attempt this. Please excuse it if it doesn't work right. Have the one screen. Okay. Share. Okay, so I'm not logged in. Carla, can you tell me a site that's approved?
Like Fayette County.
Fayette County. Okay. All right. So y'all can see my screen, right? Right now it's blank.
Yes.
Everything is taking forever to load. Okay. All right. So I'm going to type in Fayette and hit search. I have to move this little thing. All right. So if you go over here to the right and click on funding FA, that stands for funding application, you click there. Sorry, everything is going very slow. All right, and you'll see. Okay, that's, yeah. Try a different one because it says reviewed, not approved for funding.
Well, they don't have a cohort 26. They have a 17.
Okay, let's do a. Anybody can think of one that's been approved for 26?
Hold on. I can tell you.
What about Winston County?
Winston, okay.
Maybe.
Or Bibb County, too.
Bibb?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try that. We'll try Winston if that doesn't work. All right. So I've typed in Bibb. I'm going over to FA. I think. All right. So you'll see here, ALSD 21st Century Director final approved. So that's it. So I'm going to click on it. All right. If you scroll down, the application details has all of their RFA in it. It has like all the details of their RFA, but if you click on related documents, here we go. All right, so if you scroll over to here, Form 9, you should be able to click on it and see Bibb County's Form 9. All right. So again, we're trying to get those approved. There's several that are waiting on me. I'm not gonna lie. I think most of the ones that are waiting on me are cohort 17, but I just can only do so much at a time. So I'm trying to get them approved as fast as I can, but there's some with 26 that we're still waiting on to finish their edits, and so we're going to try to get those done as quickly as possible. But in the meantime, you can just ask them to print it for you. Now I'm going to go back to eGap and just show you really quick. You can see all of their forms here, but if you go back, if you want to go back and see their application details once they're approved, then you just go back over here to go to, and then go to scroll down to cohort 26, then you go down to the school, and then you go to application details. And then this shows all their answers. It should show you the schools they're serving, their funding that they were eligible for. But if you keep scrolling down, this shows their needs assessment. And then it gets into their program plan, the project design, and that's when they talk about their objectives and their goals. And they're split into two. They've got goals. They've got goals 1 through 3 together, and then 4 through 6 together. And then it goes into their strategies and activities. But the reason why we did the Form 9 is so because these are all kind of in isolation of each other. So it'd be really easy for them not to necessarily tie their strategies and activities to their goals. And so that Form 9 is supposed to help them do that. But some did it and some did not. So that's why that document exists, but it's also like a really important part of the planning process in my opinion. And so that's why we said, try to get that where it needs to be. All right, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to have to run to get to the dentist in time. But we will meet again on Monday. What did I say? Sorry. Trying to remember what I put. I think it's like maybe, 2 to 3. We're going to meet again on Monday for 2 to 3. It'll be the same sort of meeting where you guys can just ask questions and things like that. I will record it. I'll make sure I get this out either today or first thing Monday morning, the recording of this. It's just going to be probably put onto the website, onto the YouTube site, but I'll try to send it out in an email as well. But I'm going to have to head out. But feel free to come back and join us on Monday if you have further questions, if other things pop up. Or if you just need to email us and ask questions, you're welcome to do that too. But hopefully this was a little bit helpful. I'm sorry it was such a mess up with my technology going crazy the entire meeting. I really apologize, but thank you to Carla and Kelly for stepping in and handling things when mine wasn't working. And thank you guys so much for all that you do. We really appreciate your input, and that hopefully we want to make sure that what you guys are doing is really effective and really makes a difference in these programs. And so hopefully this is going to help, this new method may help with that. So
And please use our website. It has all the links, and Kelly, our webmaster, will be adding the other links to it.
Absolutely. She's doing a great job. She's doing fantastic with that. So, all right. Well, we'll see you guys. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week. If you join us, it's optional, but if you have any other questions, just let us know. And I'm going to go ahead and step out.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.